Look, I have been tending bar on Station Helix-9 for the better part of 3 stellar cycles now, and I thought I had seen everything. Every species, every type of drunk, every flavor of stupid that the galaxy had to offer. The Voxorians who drink until their gills turn purple, the Cathari who start singing their mating calls after 2 shots of fermented grain alcohol, the Plexians who literally melt into puddles when they get too happy. But humans are something else entirely. My name is Torvik, and I am a Grenthian. We are known throughout the sector for our patience, our logical minds, and our exceptional memory recall. These traits make us excellent bartenders, accountants, and occasionally witnesses to the most absurd moments in galactic history. This story, the one I am about to tell you, is about one such moment. It was a 4th-day evening, which meant the station was packed. Merchants, traders, mercenaries, and the usual collection of drifters who call Helix-9 home were crammed into my establishment, the Nebula's Rest. I had been pouring drinks for 6 hours straight, my 4 arms moving in practiced synchronization, when he walked in. The human. Now, I should mention that humans were still relatively new to our part of space. They had only made contact with the greater galactic community about 15 cycles ago, and most species were still trying to figure them out. The rumors about them were wild. Some said they came from a death world where everything, including the weather, tried to kill them on a daily basis. Others claimed they were persistence hunters who could chase prey for days without stopping. A few whispered that they were somehow related to the ancient progenitors, which was clearly nonsense, but you know how gossip spreads. This particular human was tall, even by human standards. He had to duck slightly to clear the doorframe. His hair was the color of rust, cut short and practical. His eyes were a pale green that seemed to take in everything at once. He wore a simple gray jacket over a black shirt, pants that had seen better days, and boots that looked like they had walked across half the galaxy. "What can I get you?" I asked as he approached the bar. He looked at my selection, which included over 200 different beverages from 40 different worlds. Then he smiled. Humans do this thing when they are pleased or amused. They show their teeth. It took me weeks to understand this was not a threat display. "You got anything that tastes like apple?" he asked. "Apple?" I repeated, my translator chip working overtime. "Yeah, you know, fruit. Sweet, kind of tart, red or green usually." I accessed my database. "I have Zentarian sweet wine. It has a fruit profile that might be similar." "I will trust you," he said, settling onto one of the stools. "Name is Marcus, by the way." "Torvik," I replied, pouring the wine into a glass. "Welcome to the Nebula's Rest." He took a sip, considered it, then nodded. "Not bad. Not quite apple, but close enough." For the next hour, Marcus sat at the bar, nursing his drink and making small talk. He told me he was a freight hauler, running cargo between the outer stations and the core worlds. Independent contractor. No crew, just him and his ship. The work was decent. The pay was okay, and he got to see the galaxy. He seemed pleasant enough. Quiet. Observant. Then the Kragoth walked in. Now, Kragoth are trouble. Everyone knows this. They are big, mean, and they have a chip on their collective shoulder the size of a small moon. They stand about 7 feet tall, built like walking slabs of muscle, with skin that looks like gray concrete and dispositions that make rabid animals seem cuddly by comparison. They also have a serious problem with humans. See, about 2 cycles ago, a human freighter captain named Victoria Ramsey got into a dispute with a Kragoth warband over salvage rights to a derelict ship. The argument turned violent. By the time station security arrived, Ramsey was still standing, and 12 Kragoth warriors were not. The incident became legendary. The Kragoth did not take it well. They especially did not take well to the fact that a human, a species they had never even heard of before that day, had handed them their most embarrassing defeat in recent memory. This Kragoth, a particularly large specimen named Grath, looked around the bar until his eyes landed on Marcus. I saw the recognition flash across his face. Not recognition of Marcus specifically, but recognition of what he was. Human. "Oh no," I muttered. Marcus had noticed too. He set down his glass carefully and turned on his stool to face the approaching Kragoth. His expression had not changed. Still calm, still pleasant, but his body language had shifted in a way I could not quite define. He looked relaxed but also coiled, like a spring compressed and waiting. Grath stomped over, his boots making the deck plates vibrate. He was flanked by two other Kragoth, both nearly as large as he was. They stopped about 3 feet from Marcus. "Human!" Grath said. His voice sounded like gravel being crushed in a vice. "Evening," Marcus replied. His tone was polite, almost friendly. "You have a lot of nerve showing your face here." "Funny, I was thinking the same thing about you," Marcus said. "But here we both are." One of the other patrons, a Valorian merchant I knew named Kellex, quietly moved his drink to a table in the corner. Smart. I started moving my more expensive bottles to the lower shelves, behind the reinforced barrier. "Your kind humiliated the Kragoth," Grath continued. "Ramsay made us look weak." "Ramsay made you look weak?" Marcus asked, his eyebrows going up. "Pretty sure you guys managed that all on your own. She just helped." I winced. Humans have this tendency to say things that are technically true but also spectacularly unhelpful. Grath's face darkened. His hands balled into fists, the size of my head. "You think you are tough? You think you can talk to me like that?" Marcus took another sip of his wine. Slow, deliberate. Then he set the glass down gently on the bar. "I think I can say whatever I want. Free station. Free speech. You do not like it. There is the door. Maybe I should teach you some respect. Maybe you should go back to whatever rock you crawled out from under and save us both the trouble." The other two Kragoth tensed. Greth took a step closer. "You really want to do this, human?" Marcus stood up. He was still shorter than Grath by at least 6 inches, probably outweighed by 100 pounds of solid muscle, but he did not look intimidated. Not even a little bit. "No," Marcus said, "I really do not, but if you insist on being stupid about this, I guess I will have to accommodate you." There was a moment. You know the kind, where everything goes still and everyone in the room knows something bad is about to happen. Even the background music from the speakers seemed to fade. The whole bar was watching now. Grath swung first. I have to give Marcus credit. He did try to avoid it. He leaned back, and Grath's massive fist whistled past his face by maybe an inch. Then Marcus moved, and I understood why the Ramsay incident had gone the way it did. He was fast. Not just fast for a human. Fast, period. He stepped inside Grath's reach, drove his elbow into the Kragoth's ribs with a sound like a sledgehammer hitting meat, then spun and kicked the knee of the Kragoth to his left. That one went down with a howl. The third Kragoth lunged, and Marcus ducked under his grab, came up behind him, and did something with his hands that made the Kragoth's arm bend in a direction arms are not supposed to bend. Grath recovered, roaring in fury, and threw a haymaker that would have taken Marcus's head clean off. Marcus dropped flat to the floor, rolled, and came up next to one of the tables. He grabbed it, not the flimsy kind, but one of my reinforced ones, and swung it like a shield. Grath's punch hit the table. The table cracked. Grath howled and pulled back his hand, which was now bleeding. "Stop!" I shouted. "Stop it right now, or I am calling station security." No one listened. Of course, the fight spilled across the bar. Glasses shattered, chairs flew. The other patrons scrambled to get out of the way. Marcus was holding his own, barely, against 3 opponents who each outweighed him by a significant margin. He was using the environment, using his speed, using techniques I had never seen before. Grath grabbed him at one point, lifted him off his feet, and I thought that was it. But Marcus twisted, got his legs around Grath's neck, and somehow flipped the massive Kragoth over onto his back. The crash shook the entire room. Then station security arrived, and the fight was over. 6 armored officers with stun batons poured into the bar, and within 30 seconds, everyone involved was on the ground, twitching and groaning. They dragged the Kragoth out first. Grath was still conscious, barely muttering curses in his native language. The other 2 were unconscious. Marcus was the last to be carried out. He was bleeding from a cut above his eye. His jacket was torn, and he had what was going to be a spectacular bruise on his jaw. But as they hauled him past me, he looked up and said, through split lips, "Sorry about the mess." Then they were gone. I stood there, looking at my destroyed bar, broken furniture, shattered glass, bloodstains on my nice clean floor. 3 other patrons had minor injuries from flying debris. Kellex had somehow gotten his shirt torn completely off. The Plexian in the corner was so traumatized he had melted into a puddle and was quivering. Unbelievable. I said to no one in particular. I closed the bar early, filed an incident report with station management, and started cleaning up. It took me 4 hours. 4 hours of sweeping, mopping, cataloging damages, and cursing in 3 different languages. The repair costs were going to be astronomical. The Kragoth had no money. Station security would find them. But that would not cover my losses. And the human? He was probably in a holding cell somewhere, waiting for processing. I was exhausted, furious, and seriously considering changing careers when I finally locked up for the night. Maybe I could become an accountant. Accountants do not have to deal with bar fights. I was walking back to my quarters when I saw him. Marcus. He was sitting on a bench outside the security office, his head tilted back against the wall. They had cleaned him up, bandaged the cut on his face, but he still looked rough. His jacket was gone, replaced with a thin station-issue shirt. He saw me approach and stood up. "Torvik," he said. "Hey, I was hoping I would catch you." I stopped, stared at him. "You are out of custody already." They reviewed the security footage, he explained. Saw that Grath threw the first punch. Self-defense. They fined me for disturbing the peace, but otherwise, I am free to go. "Wonderful," I said flatly. "Good for you." He winced. "Look, about what happened in your bar." "Do not," I interrupted. "Do not even start. I do not want to hear it. My bar is destroyed. I have thousands of credits in damages. I am going to be cleaning blood out of the floor seams for a week. And for what? Because some Kragoth has a grudge, and you could not just walk away." "I tried to walk away," Marcus said quietly. "He followed me. He wanted a fight. And you gave him one. In my bar." "Yeah." He looked down at his feet. "Yeah." We stood there in the empty corridor. The station night cycle had begun, so the lights were dimmed to simulate evening. Somewhere in the distance, I could hear the hum of the environmental systems. Then Marcus reached into his pocket and pulled out a credit chip. He held it out to me. "What is this?" I asked.
Payment.
"For the damages. I know it does not make up for the trouble, but it should cover the repairs and then some." I took the chip, scanned it with my data pad. My eyes widened. It was more than enough. Significantly more. This was probably his entire payment from his last cargo run. "This is too much," I said. "No," Marcus replied. "It is not. Your bar did not deserve what happened tonight. You did not deserve it. I am sorry. Genuinely, deeply sorry. If I had known he was going to follow me in there, I would have led him somewhere else. Somewhere without innocent people. Without your property." I looked at him. Humans are hard to read sometimes, but his expression seemed sincere, tired, pained, but sincere. "You fought 3 Kragoth and won," I said. "That is impressive. Stupid, but impressive." He laughed, then winced and touched his ribs. "One is a strong word. Survived is more accurate. And trust me, I feel every second of it right now. Why did you not just leave? The station is big enough. You could have avoided him." "I could have," Marcus agreed, "but then he would have just found someone else to pick on. Someone weaker. Someone who could not fight back. I have seen how guys like Grath operate. Bullies. They do not stop unless someone stops them. So you decided to be that someone. Someone had to." I sighed. "Humans. They have this concept they call honor. It is strange and complicated, and leads them to do things that make no logical sense. But it is also, I have to admit, kind of admirable." "Thank you," I said finally, "for the payment, and for the apology. You did not have to do either." "Yeah, I did," Marcus said. "You were collateral damage, and that is not fair. Least I can do is make it right." We talked for a few more minutes. He told me where his ship was docked, said he would be on station for another 2 days before his next run. Invited me to come by if I needed anything else. I told him he was welcome back at the bar once I got it repaired, as long as he promised to check for hostile Kragoth before entering. He grinned at that. Then he shook my hand, all 4 of them, which is a sign of deep respect in Grenthian culture, and walked away down the corridor. I stood there holding the credit chip watching him go, and I thought about humans. About how strange they are. How contradictory. They will fight 3 opponents twice their size without hesitation, then apologize for breaking furniture. They will risk everything for a principle, then quietly make sure the innocent bystanders are taken care of. They are reckless and careful, violent and kind, chaotic and honorable, all at the same time. The galaxy has known thousands of species. Some are stronger, some are smarter, some live longer, burn brighter, build bigger, but humans are unique. They carry this fire inside them, this stubborn, relentless, absolutely insane determination that makes them do things no rational being would consider, and sometimes, just sometimes, that is exactly what the galaxy needs. I went back to my quarters, transferred the credits to my repair account, and fell asleep thinking about the strange human who apologized after the fight to the bartender. So, 2 days passed. I got the bar repaired. Actually, the repairs went faster than expected because Marcus's payment was generous enough that I could hire a proper construction crew instead of doing it myself. New tables, reinforced this time. New glassware. I even upgraded the lighting system, which had been flickering for months. The nebula's rest looked better than it had in cycles. Business came back quickly. Word spreads fast on a station like Helix-9, and apparently having a massive bar fight involving a human was good for my reputation. Who knew? I had Valorians coming in asking which table got thrown. Cathari wanting to sit where the fight happened. Even had a group of young Plexians who wanted to hear the story firsthand. I told it, multiple times, with details. Apparently I am a pretty good storyteller when properly motivated. Marcus came by on the morning of his departure. He walked in carrying a small package wrapped in plain brown paper, looking significantly better than the last time I had seen him. The bruise on his jaw had faded to a yellowish green, and the cut above his eye was almost healed. Humans recover fast. Another one of their strange biological quirks. Place looks great, he said, glancing around appreciatively. Better than before, even. Your credits bought quality work, I replied, polishing a glass. Old habits. I should thank you again. Already did. He set the package on the bar. This is for you. Call it an additional apology. I unwrapped it carefully. Inside was a bottle. The glass was dark green, old-fashioned looking, with a handwritten label that said, in human script, Maple Whiskey, Earth 20247. I stared at it. This is from your homeworld, I said. Yeah, my grandmother made it. Well, her distillery did. She passed it down to me before I left Earth. I'm saving it for something special. He shrugged. Figured repairing a bar I helped destroy qualified. I cannot accept this. I protested. This has sentimental value, which is why I want you to have it. Marcus insisted. You could have banned me. Could have pressed charges. Could have made my life very difficult. Instead, you were fair. You treated me like a person, not a problem. That is worth more than old whiskey. I looked at the bottle, at him, at the bottle again. Humans and their gestures, their need to make things right even when they already had. Thank you, I said simply. I will treasure it. He smiled. That teeth-showing thing. Good. Now pour me one last drink before I ship out. I served him the Zentarian sweet wine again. We talked about nothing important. The weather on Earth, the routes he was planning to take, the new antimatter regulations that were making freight hauling more complicated. Normal conversation. Pleasant. Easy. Then the doors opened, and Kellex rushed in. The Valorian merchant I mentioned before, the one whose shirt got torn off during the fight. He looked panicked, his scales shifting through colors rapidly, which meant he was stressed. Torvik, have you seen the station alerts? He gasped. No, I said, reaching for my datapad. What is wrong? Pirates. 3 ships just dropped out of faster than light at the station perimeter. They are demanding tribute or they will start shooting. I pulled up the station feed. Sure enough, 3 ugly-looking vessels were sitting just outside weapons range, broadcasting demands. They wanted supplies, fuel, and 20,000 credits. Standard pirate nonsense. The problem was that Helix-9 is a civilian station. We have security forces. Sure, but they are equipped for handling drunks and smugglers, not military-grade pirate ships. Station defense is scrambling fighters, Kellex continued. But the analysts say we are outgunned. Those pirate ships have serious firepower. Marcus had gone very still. He was staring at the datapad feed, his expression unreadable. How long until they start shooting? He asked quietly. 30 minutes, Kellex said. Maybe less. They gave us 1 hour to comply and that was 35 minutes ago. And the station cannot evacuate in time. I said, doing the math. Too many people. Not enough ships. Correct. Kellex's scales had shifted to a deep purple. Fear. We are trapped. Marcus stood up. He placed a credit chip on the bar to pay for his drink, then headed for the door. Where are you going? I called after him. He stopped, turned, and that smile was back, but different this time. Harder, colder. To do something stupid, he said. What else? Then he was gone. I looked at Kellex. Kellex looked at me. Should we follow him? Kellex asked. Absolutely, I said, grabbing my datapad and locking the bar behind us. We caught up with Marcus at Docking Bay 12, where his ship was berthed. It was not what I expected. Most independent freighters are bulky, ungainly things. Cargo first, everything else second. Marcus's ship was sleek, compact. It had the lines of a racing yacht, but with visible weapon mounts and reinforced hull plating. That is a freighter? Kellex whispered. That is a warship pretending to be a freighter, I corrected. Marcus was already at the airlock, typing in his access code. He saw us approaching and frowned. You two should be heading to the shelter levels, he said. We want to know what you are planning. I replied. He hesitated, then sighed. Fine, come aboard. But quickly. The interior of his ship was just as surprising as the exterior. Clean, organized, but also heavily modified. I saw weapon controls, enhanced sensors, military-grade shield generators. This was not a cargo hauler. This was something else entirely. Marcus, I said slowly. What exactly did you do before you became a freight hauler? I hauled freight, he said, moving to the pilot's seat and running through pre-flight checks. I just happened to haul it through some very dangerous areas. You pick up modifications and skills. You were a runner, Kellex said, understanding dawning. You ran blockades. Still do. Occasionally. Marcus's hands flew across the controls. Systems hummed to life. Turns out I am pretty good at not getting shot. You are going to fight 3 pirate ships. I said. Alone. I am going to get their attention, Marcus corrected. Big difference. Station security can handle them if someone distracts them long enough for the fighters to get into position. That is suicide. Probably. He flashed that grin again. But someone has to, remember. And I happen to have a fast ship with decent guns. The ship, which I learned was named Nomad, launched from the docking bay with a grace that defied its size. Marcus flew like he fought, fast, precise, aggressive. We cleared the station perimeter in less than 2 minutes, and suddenly we were heading straight toward the 3 pirate vessels. This is insane, Kellex muttered, gripping his seat. We are all going to die. Not if I can help it, Marcus said calmly. He opened a communication channel. Attention pirate vessels. This is the independent freighter Nomad. You are in violation of Galactic Commerce Law, Section 47, subsection. You have 10 seconds to power down your weapons and surrender, or I will be forced to engage. There was a moment of stunned silence. Then laughter. Harsh, mocking laughter from all 3 pirate ships. You are joking, right? One of them responded. You are one tiny freighter against 3 gunships. Run away, little human, before we vaporize you. Wrong answer, Marcus said. Then he cut the channel and accelerated. What happened next was the most terrifying 15 minutes of my life. Marcus flew like a madman. He pushed Nomad into a roll that brought us under the lead pirate ship, fired a burst from his forward guns that raked across their underbelly shields, then boosted away before they could return fire. The pirates gave chase, and that was exactly what he wanted. He led them away from the station, away from the civilian targets, out into open space where they could shoot at him without hitting anything else. They are locking weapons, Kellex warned, watching the sensor display. I see them, Marcus replied. He jinked left, and a plasma bolt seared past us so close I could see the glow through the viewport. Then he cut thrust, flipped the ship end over end, and fired backward while still moving forward. One of his shots hit a pirate ship's engine housing. Sparks flew. The pirate ship veered off, smoking. 1 damaged, Marcus said. 2 to go. The other 2 pirates had figured out he was more dangerous than he looked. They split up, trying to flank him. Marcus dove, looped, spun, and somehow kept both of them in front of him while dodging fire that would have turned us into particles. He was not just flying. He was dancing. Every move calculated. Every maneuver precise. I understood then why humans were dangerous. It was not because they were stronger or smarter or better armed. It was because they refused to accept that some fights could not be won. They looked at impossible odds and said, "Watch this." A missile streaked toward us. Marcus deployed countermeasures, launched chaff, twisted the ship sideways through a gap that should not have existed. The missile exploded behind us. He fired again, hit another pirate ship in the wing. It started trailing atmosphere. Station fighters are launching, Kellex reported, his voice shaking. 30 seconds out. About time, Marcus grunted. He pulled up hard and we climbed almost vertical, engines screaming. The pirates followed, which put them right where he wanted them. Exposed, vulnerable. The station fighters hit them from 3 sides, coordinated, professional. Within seconds, the battle was over. 2 pirate ships were crippled and drifting. The third tried to run. It did not get far. Station security tractored it and dragged it back like a fish on a line. Marcus let out a long breath. His hands were steady on the controls, but I could see sweat on his forehead. "Everyone okay?" he asked. "Alive," I managed. "Traumatized, but alive." "Good enough." He turned the ship back toward the station. "Let us go home." The station commander wanted to give Marcus a medal, or arrest him, or both. She could not quite decide. Flying an unauthorized combat sortie was technically illegal, even if it saved the station. In the end, they settled on a formal commendation and a warning not to do it again. Marcus accepted both with good humor. The celebration at the Nebula's Rest that night was legendary. Everyone wanted to buy the human a drink. Everyone wanted to shake his hand, tell him thank you, hear the story from his perspective. Marcus handled it well, patient, humble, deflecting credit to the station fighters who finished the job. I watched him from behind the bar, pouring drinks and listening to the chatter. Helix was retelling our part of the story to anyone who would listen. The Kothari were singing songs about human bravery. Even the Plexians had formed themselves into a puddle with a commemorative shape. Around midnight, when the crowd finally started to thin, Marcus made his way back to the bar. He looked exhausted. "Long day?" I asked. "You have no idea." He slumped onto a stool. "I think I need that whiskey now." I pulled out the bottle he had given me, the one from Earth, the one from his grandmother.
"Sure?"
"This is special." "Yeah," he said. "I am sure. Special occasions are meant to be shared."
I poured 2 glasses.
The whiskey was smooth, sweet, with a complexity I had never tasted before. We drank in comfortable silence for a moment. "Why do you do it?" I asked finally. "Risk your life for strangers. Fight when you could run." "All of it." Marcus considered the question. He swirled the whiskey in his glass, watching the light play through it. "Because someone has to," he said eventually. "And if not me, then who? I have the ship. I have the skills. I have the choice. And if I have the choice to help or walk away, and I choose to walk away, then what kind of person does that make me?" "A rational one," I suggested. He laughed. "Maybe. But humans are not always rational. We are emotional, stubborn. We see someone in trouble and something in us just reacts. We cannot help it. It is hardwired into us from a million years of evolution on a planet that was constantly trying to kill us. We survived by working together, by protecting the tribe, by standing up to threats even when it was stupid to do so. Humans truly are insane, I said, but I was smiling. Probably. He raised his glass. "But we are your kind of insane." I raised my glass to his. "To insanity, then." "To insanity." We drank. Marcus left the next morning. He had a cargo run to make, deadlines to keep, a galaxy to cross. I walked him to his ship. The station was quiet in the early cycle, most people still sleeping off the celebration. "Stay out of trouble," I told him at the airlock. "I will try," he promised. "But you know how it is." "Unfortunately, I do." He shook my hands again. "All 4. Then he stepped through the airlock and was gone. Nomad undocked 20 minutes later, accelerated smoothly, and vanished into faster-than-light space in a flash of blue light. I stood at the observation window, watching the empty space where his ship had been. Helix found me there an hour later. "Thinking about the human?" he asked. "Yes," I admitted, wondering if we will see him again. "I hope so," Helix said. "The galaxy could use more like him." I agreed. Here is what I learned from Marcus, from that whole experience. Humans are not the strongest species. They are not the smartest. They do not have the best technology or the longest lives or the most advanced civilization. What they have is something harder to quantify, something that cannot be measured in firepower or intelligence scores. They have heart. They have this absolute bone-deep conviction that they can make a difference, that one person acting with courage and determination can change the outcome, can save lives, can stand against evil and maybe, just maybe, win. It is irrational. It is impractical. It is dangerous. It is also beautiful. The galaxy is full of species who calculate odds, who weigh risks, who make the logical choice. Humans make the right choice, even when it costs them, even when it hurts, even when nobody would blame them for walking away. And sometimes they apologize to bartenders for breaking furniture. 3 weeks later I received a message. It was from Marcus. Short, simple. It said, "Thanks for the whiskey. Thanks for the conversation. See you next time I am in the sector. Try to keep the bar in one piece. Marcus." I sent back, "No promises, but I will have your wine waiting." Torvik. The nebula's rest is still standing, still serving drinks to travelers from 100 worlds, still hosting the occasional fight, though nothing as spectacular as that first one with the Kragoth. Grath, incidentally, was banned from the station for 5 cycles. His friends too. Good riddance. Business is good. Stories are plentiful. And every so often I look up at the entrance and half expect to see a rust-haired human ducking through the doorway, ready to cause trouble and apologize for it in equal measure. That is humanity. For you. They fight your battles. They save your station. They pay for the damages. They share their grandmother's whiskey. They risk everything for people they barely know, and then they act like it was no big deal, like it was just what anyone would do. But it is not what anyone would do, it is what humans do. And I, for one, am grateful they are on our side.